What are some common mistakes with the right hand? Some of them cost you in terms of getting hit while you're throwing. Some of them make it so that you can't get to your target or you can't get the timing just right. One of the first ones is what I call shotgunning, is when you go to throw that 1-2 and you pull this right hand back to load it, to let it go like this. Now that's not the same as having it kind of relaxed here. You see like Deontay Wilder, he kind of keeps it relaxed here. Bang. Now again, that's a bit of a pro thing. Amateurs are not necessarily going to get away with that to start. You want to bring the hand back here. But you want to watch for this sort of shotgunning and preloading it. As soon as somebody sees that you do that, it's a counter check hook. Boom, right away. As soon as you jab, bop, you're going to get caught with that counter check hook, the check hook coming back. So when you throw that 1-2 or when you throw that right hand, you want to make sure here, just right on the front, have it touch, right there, boom, like so, boom. Watch out for this, shotgunning, preloading, loading up the right hand. That's one of the first and most common mistakes you're going to see with beginners and the right hand. Mistake number 2, raising the shoulder on the punch. I just see this a lot. I guess because we're trying to get extension and we raise the shoulder. So you don't want this from here with the right hand, like that. You don't want that shoulder out of the socket. Once that shoulder comes out of the socket like this, you lose a lot of power. You also lose range as well. I think it's kind of like people want to twist. So then they go like that. It feels like you're kind of twisting because you're getting more into it. You want that body, okay, to turn and here, the shoulder down in the socket, extended out. You want to make sure it's not like this, down, out, chin down, okay? So the way to work on that is just try to practice relax. See how I have my hands here? And I just want to let that hand come out, okay? I don't want it to come up. Or I can even just go here and I want to make sure, okay? I want that shoulder to extend out, reach out, not up. The more you go out, the less you can bring it up. If I'm back here, look at that. I can lift it all the way up like so. All right, the third one is very subtle, and I mention it because it was my biggest mistake, is throwing the right hand kind of like this. And see, across instead of here. Nice and straight through. The reason why this is a problem, it's a good punch, actually. Like, it's just kind of like almost like a chopping right hand, is that you tend to catch the guard of the opponent a lot. It's hard to kind of sneak it through. So here, I was throwing it kind of like this, kind of coming across like this in my early days. Good meat on it, good power on it, but catching the guard. You want here, you want to sneak it through, and then you can have your other shots come wide. So just make sure that center line, right? That shot turns and comes nice through up the middle. Imagine 2 little poles or posts right there. You want to fit those gloves, boom, right between, catch your opponent square on the jaw, right between the gloves. Make sure not to have it come on an angle, have it come straight through. Okay, mistake number 4, probably one of the most common, and there are some exceptions to this. Not pivoting the foot, the rear foot. Now, when you're going to throw a power left hook after, you see boxers, you won't actually always fully pivot that foot, but what happens is you'll see the hips and the shoulders turn in a nice alignment. Like so, but what you see as a beginners are often here, like this. The hip doesn't really get into it. The pivoting of the foot allows the hip to get into it. When someone has a good stance, okay, the hip will just go right into it. So really it's the foot pivot, but really it's the hip that's the problem. If you don't pivot your foot, the hip can't get in there. So you want that hip to turn to get power into the shot to rotate the body. So when you throw that right hand, here, pivot the foot so that the hip can get into the shot. Boom, boom. Whatever kind of shot you're throwing. So you got to work on that by here. You got to let that foot pivot. And you got to feel that hip coming through. You don't want this, right? That, right? Or whatever, all variations that you see of that hip kind of hanging back there. That hip has to come through. All right? So make sure you work on that pivot to allow that hip to come through. That's mistake number 4. Mistake number 5. This is one where there's an exception because good boxers, professional boxers can make this work. Beginners are doing it for a different reason, and that's leaning on the shot, okay? Now, if you're a good boxer, let's say you're Canelo knocking out Amir Khan. Okay, yeah, maybe wham, you're gonna lean in on a shot. Or you see a lot of good boxers, they lean and that sets up other shots. Sure, they're susceptible to the uppercut, but a lot of times you can get away with it. If you're fast and you're good enough, and you can set up and you can kind of lean in. And so that's a pro boxer, a good boxer getting some extra range and kind of getting their head down. Hopkins used to do this a lot too as well, kind of they'll take the risk of the uppercut in order to be safe coming in and get that range. But for beginners, that's not the story. For beginners, what it is leaning with the body to get the punch going. They're using the body to kind of get the punch going as opposed to rotating. And so you got to learn as a beginner how to rotate to get power, and then later you can lean. So watch that you're not doing this, kind of leaning into the punch. Look at this, and sacrificing all that range. You want to make sure here you get your maximum range, right? And you turn your body into the punch, right? Turn that body, no leaning. Later when you get better, then sure, you can lean, be a bit out from further range. You can play with it and experiment with it. But for now, hands up, bam, bam. Get that nice rotation going, rotate the body, good balance. Don't lean for now till you get some experience and fluidity, and then maybe possibly as a tactic, you can use that later. All right, mistake number 5. I would say this is more consideration than a mistake. Timing off that right hand off the 1-2. What a lot of people do, they want to get power. And you hear all that time and space between the 1-2. Most of the time, what you want is, you want to have that da-da. You want to have that da-da. No time in between. Okay, very little time in between the 1 and the 2. You don't want here. You don't want to get caught loading up on it too much. That time will cost you. Opponent moves, you get countered. Opponent has a chance to move their head. So you want to work that. Okay, start easy. Okay, work that timing. Get that. Try to get that right hand coming right after the jab. Boom. As if the opponent saw the jab and there's no time. Boom, now they're looking at the right hand. Work on that timing, not this. Okay, try not to have that delay in there. Work on that timing. Final one is more of a struggle. A lot of beginners have a hard time landing the right hand because they can't get their distance right. Well, you want to get your jab almost there. You want to bring your feet. If I got to hit that bag, okay, here, maybe the right hand, but most likely not. If the jab isn't landing, the right hand only has a little bit more, and that's already a bad position. I have to bring my feet to it. I have to bring my feet in there. Okay, you have to let your feet bring you. The feet distance and the footwork controls whether you get that right hand or not. So it's not about this, right, or that right hand. It's here. Here. Okay, so easy enough. If I'm out of range, I want to step in, right? 1, 2, look at that. Back foot. Boom. Okay? Boom. Right? If I leave that back leg back there hanging, okay, much harder. I don't get as much on it. Okay, here. Bang. Okay, right hand can land if I bring that back foot with me. I want to close the distance. Boom, like so. You want to use your feet, so don't let that right leg. Okay, sure, I can touch. It's not really the same. Okay, you want to let that right foot come in. Work on that footwork. Bam. Bam. If I go with the double jab. See like that little step at the end. Okay, so this rear foot is going to allow you to control distance, allow you to get in range to throw that right hand. If you're out there and the jab doesn't land and the back leg doesn't go, definitely not happening, or at least you're not going to get any penetration on it. So here, if I can just barely touch with the jab, if I don't leave that back leg, if I leave that back leg there, okay, I'm not going to get much. I got to bring that back foot in. Boom, and then I get it. So here, you just work that. Okay, you work it. All right, you guys, if you like that video, you're gonna like the membership on this channel. That's the join button up above, links down in the video description below. I've got hundreds of hours of content there, literally hundreds of hours of content, from workouts, virtual pads, virtual sparring at level 1. Level 2, I got a whole beginner's program. If you're a beginner and you wanna learn the details of boxing, that's there. Level 3, I have training camps. You wanna get in great shape and improve your head movement, improve your counterpunching, improve your footwork. I do video reviews, all kinds of stuff, instructional videos. It's all there, super value. So make sure to check that out. The membership, links down below in the join button. In the meantime, keep your hands up, chin down, eyes on the prize. Peace.